The consequences of depression beyond sadness, the structural damage to a human life. Depression does not only affect how a person feels. It alters how they think, how they function, how they relate, how they age, how they survive. Clinically referred to as major depressive disorder, depression is a systemic condition, meaning it affects the entire human system, brain, body, behavior, and future trajectory. Let's explore consequences most people never discuss. 8. Neurobiological consequences when the brain physically changes. Chronic depression is associated with measurable brain changes. Research shows reduced hippocampal volume affecting memory and learning, altered amygdala activity increasing fear and threat sensitivity, dysregulation of the prefrontal cortex affecting judgment and impulse control. Long-term exposure to elevated cortisol, the stress hormone, may contribute to neuronal damage. In simple terms, untreated depression can physically reshape neural pathways. This is not weakness. This is biology under chronic emotional stress. The good news: neuroplasticity allows recovery with proper treatment. But without intervention, the damage compounds. 9. Emotional consequences. The death of emotional range. Depression does not just create sadness, it reduces emotional bandwidth. People lose excitement, curiosity, sexual interest, creative drive, emotional responsiveness. This emotional blunting affects relationships deeply. Partners feel distance, children feel absence. Friends feel disconnect. Over time, people stop expecting joy and begin expecting disappointment. And when hope disappears, survival mode replaces ambition. 10. Behavioral consequences. The self-sabotage pattern. Depression changes behavior subtly at first. Procrastination increases, personal hygiene declines. Exercise stops, nutrition worsens, sleep cycles become irregular. Small neglect becomes lifestyle deterioration. Some individuals turn to alcohol misuse, substance dependence, excessive social media use, risky behaviors, not because they are reckless, but because they are seeking relief. Temporary escape becomes long-term damage. 11. Interpersonal consequences. The breakdown of intimacy. Depression disrupts attachment. It creates emotional withdrawal, irritability, reduced libido, communication breakdown. Partners may misinterpret symptoms as rejection. Families may respond with frustration instead of support. Children of depressed parents may experience emotional insecurity, increased anxiety, behavioral difficulties. Untreated parental depression affects generational mental health patterns. The impact does not stop at one person, it spreads silently through families. 12. Economic consequences. The financial cost of mental illness. Depression reduces productivity globally. Work impairment includes absenteeism, reduced efficiency, early retirement, disability claims. On a societal level, depression costs billions annually in healthcare expenses and lost productivity. On a personal level, it can mean debt, career stagnation, missed promotions, business failure. Not because of incompetence, but because mental energy is depleted. 13. Comorbidity consequences. When depression attracts other disorders, depression rarely exists alone. It commonly co-occurs with anxiety disorders, substance use disorders, chronic pain syndromes, eating disorders. Comorbidity complicates treatment. It increases suicide risk. It prolongs recovery. The longer depression remains untreated, the more complex the clinical picture becomes. Early intervention prevents layering of disorders. 14. Existential consequences. The loss of meaning. Perhaps the most profound consequence of depression is existential. Life loses color, future feels empty, purpose dissolves, ambition fades. People stop planning years ahead and begin surviving days at a time. This is not laziness, it is motivational paralysis. Depression attacks the very structure of hope, and hope is what drives human progress. 15. The suicide risk reality. We must speak honestly. Depression is one of the strongest predictors of suicide worldwide. Persistent hopelessness combined with emotional pain creates cognitive constriction, a narrowing of perceived options. The mind begins to believe, "This will never change, I am a burden, there is no way out." But this perception is part of the illness, it is distortion, not destiny. Timely intervention saves lives, professional support matters. The critical message: depression untreated becomes cumulative. It affects brain structure, immune function, hormonal balance, relationships, income, identity, longevity. But here is what must be emphasized clearly and professionally: depression is highly treatable. With psychotherapy, pharmacotherapy, lifestyle restructuring, and social support, recovery rates are significant. The brain heals, function returns, hope rebuilds. The tragedy is not depression itself, the tragedy is untreated depression. Final closing powerful delivery: depression is quiet. It doesn't always cry loudly. Sometimes it smiles, sometimes it works. Sometimes it hides behind "I'm fine," but underneath, it is eroding something valuable: time, connection, potential, life. The consequences are real. But so is recovery. Awareness is protection. Early treatment is prevention. And compassion is not optional. It is necessary, because depression is not a personality. It is not a flaw, it is a condition, and conditions can be treated.